Hello everyone. It's been a while. How we doing? I wasn't really planning to stream today when I woke up. Let me hold on. Background music's a bit too loud. But I realized it's been like 3 weeks. Sorry, that's my bad. I guess I can't really say the whole weekly-ish joke anymore, can I? Audio good. I remembered to actually hit the go live button this time. So we're better than last time, at least already. But I figured I'd just stop in, chat with y'all a bit, talk about, Nationals has happened, and thus the call in Las Vegas as well. Battlehard Columbus has happened. List has changed a little bit. We're still playing Arcane. I'm not quite on the boomer side yet, on the bully side yet, but let's get some Iyslander gameplay. Why not? And while we're at it, I wanted to chat about some things I'm working on for the channel that you'll see around here soon. Streams weekly. The definition of weekly is loose. It's like weekly if the definition of weekly is monthly, Matt. It basically the same thing. Essentially the same thing. But yeah, things I'm working on behind the scenes, and partially why I've been more or less absent for the last couple of weeks is, especially now with ProQuest season being announced, I want to work on a few like shorter form in and out info. Here's things to know playing Iyslander before you do those events. So to give you a little tease of what we're expecting in the next month or so, I'm currently working on a video that I'm like pretty passionate about, which is, the title is really simple: Norrøn Hood is bad in Iyslander. I get asked this question quite a bit, why I don't include it in any of my lists, and in that video, which hopefully I'll have out by the end of next week, we'll break down why I think it's just like almost objectively not worth the deck slot. It should be pretty interesting. Check it out. The other things I'm working on, I'm still getting asked constantly what a good replacement for Heart of Fyendal is, and so we're just gonna turn that into a video idea that I can just point people at if they're interested in the future. Yeah, I know, Alex. So, fun fact, all of you watching, for a brief period in time, my locals were calling ourselves the Second Cycle, and then this team showed up at Calling Indianapolis, and we were like, oh, we did not work on that idea fast enough. So yeah, Norrøn Hood video, a Heart of Fyendal replacement video. I've seen enough people ask about Bolander sideboard guides that I figured I'll make my own. I'm not exactly a bully expert, but I can probably make a well enough one, so that, it's like at least out there available for the public to pick up and play instead of having to go through and make their own. So that'll probably be out. It may not be a full video. It might just be like something I drop on Twitter. Keep an eye out for it. And then lastly, I wanted to devote a whole video to choosing to be on the play or draw in a given matchup. Going back and looking at my sideboard guides, we've seen that like it's about a 50-50 split, and I get asked a lot like, do you by default prefer first or second? And I don't think it's quite that simple, so I want to explain kind of my thought process in each matchup. Anyways, that's what you have to look forward to in the future. Today, we're going to be playing the list that I played to a top 4 finish at the PTI event of Battlehard Columbus. Let's go ahead and hop into Talishar. Got the deck link. We're going to do request undo CC, which is not competitive CC anymore. I'm not thrilled with the change, but it's whatever. This is a list that's like 5 or 6 cards different, I think, than the list that I did for my deck tech video. And I'm just going to go ahead and do manually sideboarding so we can talk about things. So Tunic, Moon, Coronet, Striders, obviously. Levia has become a very interesting matchup because I've actually been preferring Metacarpus node recently. Now, obviously, Levia doesn't have any on-hit effects. It's really all just like generic vanilla damage. And so I've been really underwhelmed with Iron Rot. It's just like +1 life. There's never a breakpoint that you're hitting and feeling really good about. And Metacarpus node, I have found personally, is very useful at extending the range in which we're threatening Levia's flip denial into consumed around that 13 life threshold. Plus, in general, when our opponent doesn't have on hit effects, getting to threaten just +2 range on the kill turn is pretty nice. She said the name, Sam. That wasn't even intentional. But yeah. One of these days, I'll actually not play a wizard. I'll play a deck that has on-hit effects, and we're just going to lose our minds the entire stream, just self-referential all the way down. Maybe that deck is Prism. I've kind of been looking at Prism recently. I think there's something there. We might have to play that on stream in the future. It seems like I really enjoyed it when I played it the first time. Oh, I wish that we could have punished this hand from our opponent. Because that would have been a great hand to push damage through. Aiden's having a blast with Prism. Most fun he says he's had in Fab. That is extremely exciting, Sam. I might have to check in with Aiden and see what kind of list he's looking at. Ah, well, this hand is awful. Not much good to do here. Arsenal and Channel Lake right now when Tunic isn't up at 3 seems really bad. So what I think I'd like to do is place CLF into a Coronet and gain a resource from this Heart of Fyendal, or gain a life, excuse me. And then we have a Cold Snap to Arsenal, and we're putting them down a card here. CLF is out. We're probably going to push some damage next turn, and that's going to feel very good. Hand just kind of plays itself, I think. This opponent is, really not having much things to do. It's just a 3-card 6. You'll love to see it. We're gonna Cold Snap and send Moon. Hopefully we draw a blue here. We do. Excellent. So we get to block this in case. And this CLF, I guess we will send. CLF number 1 dies. CLF number 2 will be arsenaled. Tunic isn't at 3, but it's fine. We have all the breathing room in the world here. I agree, Alex. Prism is very fun and very hard. It's exactly the kind of deck that made me fall in love with Arcane Iyslander, right? Those same qualities of the deck, both in deck building and piloting. So I think there might be a future there for something that I can really love as far as a deck to play goes. Alright, so Graveyard is filled. We can't keep CLF around by pitching to Moon. That is indeed a big swing. So, I know a lot of players are probably tempted here to just slam out the CLF, but what's that actually accomplishing us, right? Instead, we can wait for Tunic to be at 3 next turn. and then just fuse this Ice Vein and dump the Polar Blast to Waning Moon. Like, we're at life equivalence with our opponent. We've got all the breathing room in the world. Weirdest modern deck you've seen in a while, not gonna lie. It's a modern Flesh and Blood deck. It is currently legal in the format. I don't know, what's the modern equivalent of Iyslander? Because blue-white control isn't really an archetype, right? I love taking 2 cards from my opponent. Oh, well, right. Well, when it's just handed to us like this, it's too easy. Doesn't really matter if CLF resolves before we moon. We just want to make sure the Frostbite resolved so that they can't Tunic to AB in response, even though that's probably not the optimal play. This is 6 Dominate Go again, but they have 0 follow-up. We're 5 life down. We're in great shape. Arsenaling Frosting, not really where we want to be. But the odds that it enables us just to moon next turn for 3 damage is probably worth it to Arsenal and not dump to moon. But as I mentioned earlier, this was the list I played at the PTI event in Columbus. Funny story. Let's rewind a bit to Nationals and talk about that weekend, and then jump to the punchline later about why I didn't play Iyslander in the Columbus Battle Hardened and why that was a huge mistake. So Nats happened, what, 2 weeks ago now? I took... we're not mooning, we're just passing. I took Iyslander, obviously. A list that was 5 cards different from my Battle Hardened lists. I swapped the red Raging Onslaughts for yellow Fiondel's Fighting Spirits. And I swapped 2 Scours for 2 Energy Potions. Let's talk about each of those changes, right? Epot is, I think, very obvious. Well, let me evaluate this hand real fast. They're just, man, they're having a very slow start, which is interesting. I mean, we might as well send this. Excuse me. But what are we doing on our turn is the question. Because they have AB'd. We can keep CLF out if we not want. Yes, yes, Finkraj. Red Aether Hail is probably the best card in the deck. Like, literally no cap. Ice blocks 3, red, so it pitches to CLF easily when you really need it. Great Strider target. This isn't a matchup where we really want to keep it. Keep CLF out, I mean. It's good, but it's not that good, especially early right now when they don't have blood debt accumulated. So I think there's a world here where we just send Red Hail on our turn and Arsenal the Sink. Yes, we'll have a turn off of Disruption. Yep, Pankaj just arrived at the same line as me in chat. But I bet that a lot of this gets through if they give up cards to Arcane Barrier. then we're happy because we're essentially coroneted them with upside. But honestly, trading my 2 cards for 6 damage is a better value deal than a lot of things Lexi has done so far this stream. If when Lexi's gone, are there any cards you would be able to cut from the deck for something more flavorful? Or does she not really affect you as much as, like, say, she does to me as a Dromai player? So if Lexi's gone, you definitely can cut Encase, arguably Icebind. The Encase originally went into the deck to specifically combat Lexi. It's just kind of like a happy accident that we found that this is fine. Accident we found that like it's actually good into other matchups, but to make the deck more flavorful, I mean you probably just have to like, if there's a turn to have a Sinkhole in Arsenal, it's this one. I don't know, Weather Veins maybe go back in the list. I know that hearing that word will probably make Pankaj happy. Hey, what's up, Vishra? I don't think we're dead on this turn. We're just like literally ahead on life, so... I know. Red Weather Vein is such a fun card. It's just so inconsistent. I'm still Copium, you know, that expansion slot in Bright Lights. Definitely have to get the fabled upgrade to Red Aether Hail that I dream about. Okay, big turn here. Blood Debt Clock is on. But listen, LSS, if you're watching this, all I want, just take Polar Cap, the 2-cost for Arcane, if it's fused on hit Frostbite, just do that, and make it 1 cost as a Red Majestic. Fusible Red Aether Hail, I would love you forever, LSS. So against Weather Veins until I got you into them. 1 cost Polar Cap, Alex, that's exactly, yeah, same wavelength. Our Tunic will be up. Looks like a block 7 pass. And we're obviously going to Coronet, since their Tunic is not up. They didn't Hooves. I forgot about the part where we had an intimidated card. Huh. Should have blocked a bit more. We're only halfway through our Ice Veins, so committing this chill is probably fine, especially when we're arsenaling CLF. Yeah, I think it's a combination of the Talishar layout, Pankaj, and just also just trying to interact with chat as much as possible. This hand's bad. It's fine, but it's not good. Oh. Not ideal. Not ideal. There's no Intimidates. Our hand blocks really well. So probably just want to send this to slow them down in case they draw a bajillion blues. I want like an Uzuri, but on dragons. If it hits, find a that sounds so gross, catnip. Dragon tutors in Dromai would be really itchy. Just, oh yes, I would like Thamai right now, just all the time versus wizards. But yeah, I still dream about Weather Vein. Maybe one day that'll be a good card. So the real question is, we're just sinking once, maybe twice this turn. And then coroneting with the Ice Bolt. Am I willing to go to 10 to arsenal the sink below? I think so. It seems like a fair trade to me. Nope, that's not what I meant to do. I meant to float that tunic counter. Having the sink below in arsenal versus Levia when you can, and we don't have anything better to do, is really good when they've shown us that they're playing pulping, because it can on demand turn off the go again. Give me a red 0-cost react that is ice 3-block on fuse +2. Vishra, that sounds so busted. I have wondered about, like, could Iyslander have a card that's like a blue ice D-react that blocked 2, and that was it. That's just the card, 0 cost. Because it's an ice card, it would make a frostbite on play. So, like, yeah, it's a blue 2-block, but it's kind of like a stalagmite at the same time. I think that would be playable. I don't think it would be overpowered. I'd love to see that design space explored for the class in the future. Ugh. Alright, well now we're happy that we have the sink below to try to fix this hand. They hit. Are they gonna hoof? They don't have Tunic up, they have 1 card in hand. The most this ever is on the follow-up is just a claw for 3. So I'd like to sink the second Brain Freeze out of hand, see if we can draw on anything a bit spicier. That's what we're talking about. So good with this chill that we developed earlier. Realistically, I think the above card minus the ice tag is fine to print. Sink below minus the redraw +1 defense. Only with additional costs. There are hoops to jump through. Yeah, it's probably about right, Vishra. 3-block fuse +2. Might not be 0 cost. Or it might... Fusing is inherently upside in a world where Insidious Chill exists, right? So does it need to be like a 2-block on fuse +2? It sounds really bad though. 3-block on fuse +1 is the D-react? I could get behind that. Art of Orgon to the chill. Always nice to see. These, like, potential card design discussions are always so interesting to me. We don't have 2 ice cards to keep CLF up. They're going to have something to do on their turn, so I think we're always supposed to... Oh, no, they have 0 resources floating. Hold on. We moon here every time. Because they have to give a card or not be able to consume this game. Alright, no consumed. Hey, welcome, Nathan. Alright, well, we're just drawing straight gas as far as these hands go. Thoughts on, like, a reverse on hit, like a D-react with if no damage is dealt this chain link, create a frostbite token under opposing user's control. And And now I wish I had that blizzard. Bit awkward here. Yeah, the design space for this Dream Viscera is just so deep, like so many avenues that just haven't even begun to be explored yet. Like reverse on hit effects, like Catnet pointed out. Okay, here's a great example of when we stride, even though we're not killing our opponent. Because our opponent has not banished a Blood Debt this turn. They have 2 resources floating and a card in hand. And they're trying to do buff and banish draw 2 on this Art of War. So with our chill, they have to pay 2 resources. And then with the Fused Ice Vein, they have to get rid of this card. And now their turn is literally nothing, and then they take 2 from Blood Debt as well. Yeah, it's good to be back, Nathan. I didn't realize how long that hiatus was. I really promise I'll try to not do that again this time. We're really hoping to catch our opponent with a red here. It's pretty natural to imagine they got greedy with this line because they thought we weren't going to have any disruption for them. And then to be very clear, yeah, so you're fine to resolve this Art of War that does nothing. Our opponent's at virtual 8 after the Blood Debt. So we can Moon to put them to 5, or we can have an Arsenal that can save our hand next turn. Probably want the Arsenal. It's really close, Viscera. Yeah, I think Coronet is just not useful here, especially when we have Tunic up. Like, we can Tunic Polar Blast if we ever need to. We might need to. I could have discarded Mark to chill to avoid taking Blood Debt. Good point. Oh, that's a lot of Blood Debt now. Our hand is fine, TM. I'm just considering if I'm pitching Diplo to Polar Blast here or if I'm using Tunic. We don't have any good uses for Tunic in hand, like for Arsenal targets. So I think I'm going to just do our budget Crown of Seeds. Okay. And see where that gets us. So I'm pretty happy to give 6 here. If their follow-up isn't significant, I spine Polar Blast on our turn, pitch Polar Blast to Moon, Arsenal Cold Snap. We'll see. I imagine they do have a follow-up here. If it's just Claw, we'll take it. Yeah, just really unlucky at drawing attack actions right now, Ryan. It's a shame. Attacking for 6. Going to 4 seems very unwise. We can threaten lethal via Arcane on the next turn cycle. I spined into Moon with the Polar Blast. Cold Snap's Moon on their turn is 8. But we're at 4 and then having to just like block everything they throw at us at that point. Versus playing a longer game. Going to 7, cornetting on their turn. The graveyard's like really stocked, so as long as they draw anything that fuses, or not fuses, banishes, they're good. This might be too conservative, but we'll see. Just if they whiff on a turn of Blood Debt, it's just game over at this point, essentially. They've seen 2 Blood Rush already. Played against Bully list at Nats. It's actually easier to beat than the Arcane list. I don't think I've beaten you in months with Dromai. Yeah, that's been a weird one to observe, Alex, because it definitely does seem like, ooh, if I can get this Ice Vein in Arsenal with this Metacarpus node, we will be in a happy place. Let's see. We want to threaten their arsenal with this Cold Snap. Drawing into another in case. Not ideal. You've been able to target yourself with Cornet for a while, Brickless. What you have to do is go into this options and do manual targeting, and that will let you select targets for things like Waning Moon and Cornet Peak and all of your spells. Closing this game is so much harder when we don't have Striders, but it was definitely worth it to crack them when we did. How many resources is Levia using after this? None. This is the whole turn. I wish this was a blue so badly. Well, one of these is useless. The other one's useless too. I think we're just doing this, sending Encase on our turn. We have a Chill Up, we have this Blue Ice Vein, which we can force to hit with Node. So if they tap out too much, there's very much a world where we have lethal this turn cycle. You love to see it. Alright, new plan, get this in our arsenal. Activating Tunic. Okay. Oh, the greed. Opponent. Banish draw 2 with 1 card in hand. You know what we just arsenaled? A card that triggers Insidious Chill. How about that? That's so funny. And they won't have any cards in hand, so there's no use to node this. Yeah, it seems very bold, Vishra, I agree. Oh, cool. They're gonna kill themselves to Beast Within. Hopefully they drew a red. Oh, no, we know what it was. I missed the reveal. So if you're a 1 cost... Wait, why did they not AB this? Weird. Okay, go ahead. How many times we have to teach you this lesson, old man? So Sending Moon puts them to 2. Or Blue Hailing on our turn for 2 and 2. Strips a card and taxes their next hand. I think I would rather force cards out of hand on the next turn cycle. Because even if they're at 2, if they have a full hand and we only have 7, it's hard to get through AB3. This demands at least 1 card from them. And probably takes a blue. Demitsu is guaranteed lethal with Emeritus Node. 3. Oh yeah, I didn't think enough. You're totally right, Pankaj. There's no way there's Oasis in this list. It's Levia. Brute's defending on a card that isn't Reckless Swing? Come on. Yeah, that's definitely a throw from me. This is fine. They can intimidate any card and we still have enough resources to kill. Tapping out? Okay. Come on, opponent. You know better than that. Seems like they just were forced to make a risky play to turn off Blood Debt, or else they were going to die that way. It happens. That do be what Levia do. Opponent thinking real hard about how they're about to die. But yeah, with this game wrapped up, where were we? So Raging Onslaught in my Battle-Hardened list became Yellow Fjendl's Fighting Spirit in my Nationals list. I'm very happy with that change. I still played it last weekend. Blue Barat, oh yeah, they probably just should have held it, Alex, in order to have a blue in hand. They're still dead, but they would be not dead to a lot more things. Yellow Fighting Spirit is still a 2-card 7 for all of the matchups where being very efficient is relevant, like the Mirror and Bravo, compared to Raging Onslaught. But also it's a yellow, which like having a yellow pitch to enable lines, opponent is just thinking really hard about how dead they are, is incredible. Like yellow plus a tunic counter just to emulate a blue means that you get to pitch that attack a lot when you are non-blue flooded. Still pops dragons, just does everything you want it to do, except be a 7 power for Prism. The meta has clearly demonstrated to us that Prism isn't real yet. Wink, I'm working on it. Yellow Fighting Spirit is cracked as a 1 of, honestly. Love that change as well when I made it. Yeah, I could see it as a 1 of Vishra in like in a standard Wounded Bull list as well. I think it fits in just really well to the deck in general. And then the other change I made to my Battle-Hardened list was 2 energy potions for 2 Stowers. I only wanted 2 at that time because I didn't think Iyslander was still going to be so represented. And I was concerned slightly about Fatigue Bravo with like Warhorns and stuff. It's just worse Fatigue Oldhim, but Epots helped that matchup a lot. And 2 means that you're not playing 4 no blocks. 2 epots, 1 Heart of Fyendal means that you can never draw the all no blocked hand versus aggro Bravo and just roll over and die. I was very happy with both of those changes. Nat's performance I was not so happy with. In the constructed, I started off 2-0. I played 2 Bravos. I beat 2 Bravos. Games were very comfortable. And then I played 2 Iyslander mirrors in a row. Yeah, we're going to claim victory. Opponent is dead on board. I played 2 Iyslander mirrors in a row in rounds 3 and 4. And let me explain how both of those games went. Now, mind you, it's using my old sideboarding guide philosophy, even though a couple of cards have changed. So I'm playing 43 blues in the Iyslander mirror. A drop on the first turn. Ooh. 3 reds. This isn't a very good hand. That's fine. We'll just start at the next turn. Drop the next turn. Huh. A 2 red hand. I'm leaking a lot of life to arcane damage just because I don't have resources in hand to block it and play my cards and just do anything productive. Not the best so far. Drop again. Ooh, a 3 red hand. In both games, I think I saw all of my reds. Like, literally every red in the deck in, like, the first 8 turns of the game, like the first half of the deck. You just don't win those. And so we ended CC 2-2. Went into the draft. Had a very good draft. I opened my pack 1, pick 1. And I looked at all the cards, and I was like, there is a single Herald in this pack. And there are literally no other Prism cards besides generics. So we know what my plan is. I'm going to take this red Herald of Ravages, and for the rest of the draft, I'm just going to send a very strong signal to my left that Prism is not available. And it worked. I was one of 2 Prisms in the pod. The other Prism was almost exactly opposite me on the table. And it ended up being a 2-2-2-2 pod. And I went 2-1. I started 2-0. Beat a Bolton, beat a Prism Mirror versus the other Prism in the pod, and then played the finals of the pod versus a Chain at a very close game, but he ended up getting it. It was a really excellent game of Flesh and Blood. Ended day 1 in Nats 4-3, which is live for day 2, but the pricing at 4-3 for day 2 is just hoping for a top 32 and some cash. There's no PTIs on the line, etc. So I decided to drop and play the Calling. Had a pretty unfortunate run in the Calling. Yeah, kill this. Went 5-3 on day 1. My losses were to Azalea. It's quite an unfavored matchup. My opponent played well, despite me seeing all 3 CLFs. My own teammate, Easton Douglas, who I was paired into as 2-0 in round 3. Pretty unfortunate, like 120 2-0s in the Calling, and one of us 7 get paired into each other. And then in the very last round of the Calling, I sat down for my opponent, and my opponent was like, I'm playing Uzuri. And I'm like, excellent. This is quite a good matchup for Iyslander. Opponent flips AB3. I'm like, okay, we're playing Blue Zuri. They're going to try to take it a little slow. That's fine. And then my opponent won the die roll, went first, and just said, turn 0 Warhorn. And I went, oh no. It's one of those kinds of games. And then throughout the course of the game, just on like random contract banishes, it was contract to Zuri, so like a blue Plunder the Poor hit, because I needed to keep my hand to present pressure, and it banished a yellow Ice Vein off the top of my deck. And that happened a couple of times, and as I got towards the bottom of the game, I just realized, like, I can't play the Hex plan, because this Warhorn's been looking at me all game, and I've lost so much gas to these banishes, and I end up getting fatigued. So I lost my win and in for day 2 of the Calling at 5-3. In the Battle Hardened, I played Prism, the good Prism. I definitely feel like I should have played Chain or Kano. I think we're kind of in a 2-deck format, and I think Chain is clearly the best deck. But I like shiny things. I own all the Prism Cold Foils, so we decided to do that for fun. Went 6-3. I missed the cut off for ticket pricing by like 3 places. It was very sad, but it was just an okay weekend. Play against a Bravo. This is where we do want our attack actions. We don't want the 0 for 3s. Yeah. Alex is pointing out, so one of my friends, Jesse Hudak, top 8'd that Battlehard on Kano and played a chain in top 8, and the chain presented functional Spell Void 8, Ebbenfold, the Bravo left, Ebbenfold, and 3 of the Darkness equipment that are banished to prevent 2 with Blood Debt from the new Dynasty set. Dromai is quite a hard matchup. This will be fun. Nathan went 5-2 day 1 and almost played the Calling. I think 5-2 was my line for I would have stayed in Nats, Nathan. You're like technically live for top 8. Okay, so we still want the attack actions. Don't want E-Pots. Diplo's just okay. We do play in case. Excuse me. We don't play Sips. Maybe 1 time strippers. Okay, this is that new Australian Nats. Just didn't want to draft. I kind of enjoy the Monarch draft, to be honest. I'm puzzled because his hand is excellent. But I think I'm inclined to not let Dromai filter. Because they don't have Seekers, so they just can't do anything on this turn unless they play Sigil of Solace. Oh, Arsenal Polar Blast. Excuse me. 5-2 drop is a play for those of us who can't draft. Oh, Levi, I really believed. I was so sad to see that draft go off the rails on day 2. Sounds like my weekend in Columbus, lol. Well, we'll get to that, Vishra. So I was kind of upset with, not upset, but displeased with my Nationals performance. I was really hoping to, like, you know, at least day 2 the Calling. That felt, that one in particular stunned, especially given the team kill so early in the event. And I was very concerned about Fatigue Briar, or Beefy Briar, winning Nationals. Remembrance, it's going to be one of those games. We ought to moon now before they have any reds in their pitch zone to Furnace. $5-2 to both days, straight enough for top 32, saved $70 in calling entry. Yeah, Alex, you killed it. 1 win away from top 16 and still top 32. Just really excellent stuff. Already have a Frostbite. There's just probably not a significant follow-up to this. So I think I would like to block 3 and just Ice Vein on our turn, Arsenal Blizzard. That 1 block will haunt me. We all have it, Alex. We all have that 1 haunting misplay. I know I do, at least. But yeah, so I was quite concerned about Beefy Briar going into Columbus. If you know what you're playing into as Iyslander, you definitely can win that game. It's a lot harder for my Arcane lists than the Bully lists, and you have to play immaculately, just pitch stacking the Spirit Bomb, the double Ice Eternal, and it was something I didn't want to put the effort in the 1 week that I had in between Vegas and Columbus. So I was like, you know what, we'll do something weird this weekend. We'll put a little bit of time in and play the best deck in the format, just get a little bit of experience on it, learn what it feels like to play Lexi from the Lexi side of the table, and just see how we do. Ended up going 4-3. Perfectly fine performance for a deck that I had a week of experience with. but also just okay. You know what I mean? I want to be very aggressive with this hand when we have a Blizzard and our opponent has 3 cards. Like, Blizzard, whatever they play, no blocks, Aether Ice Vein, Pitch Heart, Reheal Frosting, Dump Frosting to Moon, Arsenal Emeritus with Tunica. I like them pitching Thamai. So 4 and 3 on Lexi. It was fine. The interesting thing playing that deck was I was really... Yeah, Pitch Thamai is so huge here. They might have another one in Arsenal already. I don't know. I really didn't have fun playing Lexi. And, like, obviously I want to get better at this game. I'm very competitive, and I want to see myself perform as well as I can. But at the end of the day, it is a game, and I want to have fun. This is a hobby. I do this to relax in my free time. Yeah, just a little bit telegraphing the Arsenal. So I ended up taking my Iyslander list on Sunday, not running back Lexi. And it paid off. Top 4. Lost to Lucas Oswald in the semifinals. Was really unfortunate. He was playing Lexi. We had a lengthy conversation at the start of the day. Also hard to perform on a deck you don't find fun. Yeah, I learned that the hard way from Taj. But it was a bit funny because at the start of that day, Lucas was borrowing someone's Lexi deck. And as he was writing out the deck list, he was just looking through the cards and he was like, this list is unplayable. There's one single Codex of Inertia. It's the best card in the deck. And I was like, nah, you're fine with just one Codex. And he looked at me and he said, no. And he went and he got 2 and added them to the deck. And then in our top 4 game, I went first. My turn was insignificant. What does this hand do? It coronets. Pitch, block, coronet, Arsenal. We got there. And then his first turn of the game involves a Codex of Inertia. And my arsenal is empty, and so I take the top card of my deck and I put it face down in my arsenal, and it's a red Aether Ice Vein, and I look at the blue Brain Freeze and Channelate Frigid in my hand, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm not going to get to arsenal this channel, and I can't fuse this Ice Vein, and I very sadly discard the Brain Freeze, and when that channel is taken away from me, I just never have tempo the rest of the game. Am I going to Worlds? Yeah, I currently plan on it, Nathan. Very excited. Still waiting on like final approvals from work, but fingers crossed. I totally plan on it. Hopefully I'll see you there. Hard to think of a matchup I would like less than Iyslander Lexi, where the Lexi player knows Iyslander intimately. I'll be there if my elo can hold up. I feel that, Nathan. My elo was quite nice after the 2 Battle Hardens. And then with the disappointing Nats performance and the 4-3 Battle Hardened at Columbus, things are not looking good. But that's fine. I'm gonna be in on XP. I'm not gonna have to burn a PTI, which I'm very happy about. I'd love to find a Channelate Frigid in this game. Just win every game you play, Nathan. Easy. Ooh, this is a spicy hand. This is a very spicy hand. I've already seen 2 Ice Veins. This is the 3rd. It's probably too late to develop this chill. Summon your inner Brody. That's just what I strive for, right? I just try to be Brody Spurlock every day. I need to take more ham sandwiches with me to events. Any changes to the deck, Brando? Yeah, I've added 3 energy potions in favor of the showers, and I've changed excuse me. Raging Onslaught has become Yellow Fyendal's Hiding Spirits, and I'm very happy about both of those changes. Did not expect all the ninjas in Columbus. That was definitely an interesting field. If they had a bitter representation over the next week, it'll be interesting to test this rounds on me. I didn't expect all the ninjas either. All of the ninjas were a very real reason, especially why I switched back to Iyslander on Sunday. I quite liked the ninja matchups as Iyslander. I beat 2 Fais on Sunday, 1 Emberblade, 1 Kodachi. And I just pretty happy. Lost in Thought into Iyslander? No, the card's not good. Into us. It's a great card. It's too late to develop this chill. We're either sending Aether Hail at face, or they're killing an Ashwing. Either's good. We'll see how their turn plays out. Sandwiches sure were something. 2 slices of meat and nothing else. I mean, that's exactly what you want in the middle of an event, though, Vishra, right? Like, you just want something... you want something bland that fills you up, but in no way will upset your stomach, right? We get to Arsenal Emeritus this turn, so good. Oh, yeah. Missed the life gain, but it's still a pop. Just trade card for card. That's not how this works, Dromai. I get to respond before your furnace resolves. Dash, Azalea, Dromai in that order. For what you're gonna play, Nathan? I'm kind of concerned because Iyslander's getting up there in points as well, so I also have to start thinking about what am I gonna play once the queen is gone, once the Ice Queen is gone. I'm probably also looking at Azalea. I'm probably looking at Dromai and Prism. I love illusionists. It's what like I first start really competitive in this game with. Huh. This hand is a bit unfortunate. What? I don't have any auras. And there's no instant auras in Dromai. Yeah, we're a blue short of this hand being incredible, Brando. We're just still meant to pop though, right? Like, pop, we're gonna encase on our turn, sandbag the Ice Vein. Because this hand doesn't do anything else good. That's totally fair, Vishra. A little bit of condiment is probably a saving grace to make a sandwich really nice. I was playing the C-tier hero alone. Nathan, your hero just won nationals. I don't want to hear it. It also just won UK Nats, like on the Mountain Briar version as well. What is this Iyslander? What is this Dromai doing? Play this card. It's like one of your best cards in the matchup. Hot sauce is the secret key. Hello, Martin. Welcome. US Nats is the only one that counts, though. US Nats is like the real one for sure. What is this hand doing? Nothing good. Like, we're gonna take 5 damage this turn. We can send 7, put them extremely low. Arsenal, another scolding. Yeah. Yeah. And then just Sam. God, this is so awkward. Dromai, Assail and Dromai both good choices. Dash is a choice of all time. Listen, Levi, I wasn't going to say it. Dash IO, I bet that'll be good though. I don't know, I'm probably just actively throwing here. Actually, you know what? I am throwing. I need to pitch this yellow Ice Vein to this Emeritus, and then fuse the red on my turn. Or our opponent doesn't let us undo. That's fine. Wonder if Iyslander will be around for Worlds. I think Lexi almost certainly is drawn after ProQuest season. I think it will be close if Iyslander is drawn Riku. Personally, I'm hoping that she survives, but I'm not sure. You think anything will get hit next week on BNR? I don't think so. I think the meta's in a reasonable spot. Like, Lexi's been winning a lot of nationals, but at the bigger events that we've seen, where there's a very diverse field that's narrowed down, we just straight up can't use this Aether Ice Vein this cycle, so we're going to block with it and feel horrible. It hasn't been Lexi winning everything, right? Because you could get appropriate counters. So I think the meta is in a pretty good spot, especially when like a different deck has won every week. It's a very dynamic and like rapidly evolving meta. So I don't think there's really a need to ban anything, even though there's a clear best deck. Yeah, Bright Lights should shake up the meta. If Lexi and Iyslander are still around, that kind of Fab 1.0 design, it probably won't shake up the meta as much as we want. Just because, like, I don't think heroes in the decks that they're printing nowadays are as strong as Arya and Monarch, and I think that's a good thing, right? Personally, do also remove Lexi, Iyslander, Dash in the PQ season. Clicking through each one of these individually is so tedious. Alright, well, our opponent's at 8. We're just lunging. This is perfect, beautiful, no notes. So basically, we're just letting our opponent play out their whole hand. If they overextend to 0 resources, we kill them. If we see that we can't kill them this turn, on the last attack they present, we'll block with Ice Vein, send Fused Ice Vein plus Moon on our turn, and have Scolding for backup kill on their next turn. Yeah, I don't think Dash is LLing this season, and probably not this year, right? Like, I imagine Dash IO will just be better. Obviously, there's a world where it's not, but potentially. Okay, the fact that they played Dromai and then are not leading with it for the action point installation is mind-boggling. Three-out suspension if Lexi had more wiggle room. But as of right now, Starvo treatment, let her sprint to retirement. Totally agree, Kevin. getting so much damage this turn, and it just doesn't matter. We're just supposed to send it here. Let's see. What is the worst case scenario? The worst case scenario is Oasis Respite plus an Arsenal plus a blue in hand, which is 4, 5, 6, 7. We'd have to present 15. We can present 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 3, 6, 9. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13. 15 value. Nah, it's not worth it. We just concede this one during the next turn cycle. I also got that 5 Vishra. Listening to him talk about how much he despises Arya design was really funny. No, not yet. We're gonna sandbag this blue Ice Vein, just in case we don't draw any other Arcane next turn. But this Ice Vein plus Wind Moon is gonna be so demanding on their resources that we probably just have the win. Yeah. Not much to do in this hand. Let's see, again, our opponent has 4, 5, 6, 7, 10. We have 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11. So they are just dead. Okay, cool. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Nope, we're resource short. Okay. Cool. Okay. So we actually were going to end up blocking with Fighting Spirit on that turn and just doing something similar to last turn with Ice Vein, I think. But opponent realized they were in a losing position as we were thinking out lethal, so that's that. 2 games down. Did I tell my whole story, or did I get distracted enough? Recapping Nats in Columbus. Sleeper choice for Ella after those 3 is Dromai. Her design is inherently dangerous. I tend to agree, Vishra. I think if Dromai continues getting pushed cards, we'll see her go very quickly. I think with the current power level of Dromai cards, the deck is very difficult to play, especially with the multiple competing builds out there, which is kind of like divides the player base. They don't have a united developing of ideas. But I mean, if Dromai gets just a couple of power cards that really power up the deck, to where you can make a few mistakes in a game and still win, essentially. Like, Illusionist has always been about punishing its pilot's mistakes just as much as its opponent's mistakes, right? But if Dromai gets powered up, yeah, there's a world where she starts racking up points very quickly, because turns out board states are really good in Flesh and Blood when no one else has a board. After Lexi and Ice LL, it's a Kano meta. Why does Ice LLing make it a Kano meta, Julian? Because last I checked, the Iyslander Kano matchup is very good for Kano. Played the Hayden Dale Dromai at Armory last weekend. It seemed pretty solid. I'm just not sold on Time Skippers, Pokemoki. It seems just like worse Seeker's Legs. to be perfectly honest. And I'm still a really big believer in Snapdragon Stalers. Even in some of the big dragon builds, like, man, snapping a snatch is just so good. Hey, we won a die roll. We would like to go second and not have this Lexi go first. But also, I know nothing about Dromai, so take everything I just said with a grain of salt. I think they were playing Seekers. Ah, I see, Nora. That's fair. This matchup is terrible. Take out the attack actions. We don't want them to be Codex. Energy Potion bad. Frost Hex is never relevant. Those are all our blues. We need to cut one more red. I'm really torn right now between cutting Icebind versus Winter's Bite. I'm currently in Winter's Bite world. Trench makes Icebind significantly worse. And trading card for card with Lexi tends to be pretty good for Iyslander. This is just AB1. But other than that, looks pretty normal. So happy to block with these two cards. And then probably the Encase. I'd like to keep the Winter's Bite if I can. Yeah, it's a good point, Vishra. Sandakai really do just be red Luminaris, huh? I guess we're gonna arsenal this Diplomacy, but it's not gonna feel very good. We're definitely not arsenaling Frostex in this matchup. Once I sell those more Arcane Disrespects. What? What? Oh my gosh, we're doing it. We're doing the thing. Alright, Trench before this Encase resolves, let's see. Or they have a Winter's Bite in Arsenal and we're really sad. Is Red Emeritus worth playing in CC? It was fun as hell in Blitz. To Emeritus on my opponent's first turn, then drawing up. It is potentially playable in CC Brickless. I think it competes for Red Ice Bolt as your like tall game ender. I typically found Red Ice Bolt was better in CC because the game's longer. And so there's more turns where you need, oh, that was a double 3 of a kind hand, I understand. So we always want to Diplo at the end of the turn if we can, because they don't get to plan their arsenal around it as much, but it's still just not very good. This is what we're arsenaling this turn cycle, and it's not close. What, 5 go again? Here's 5. Where was I? Yeah, so Red Emeritus was very good in Blitz because your opponent started so low that it was just threatening lethal almost immediately. In CC, I think Red Ice Bolt ends up being better because it's an ice card, which pitches really well and fuses well for the majority of the game. Annoying. But also potentially... They have a card in hand. I think we're just meant to hold this Scolding to Coronet. Drill Shot's gonna eat our Iron Rock Gauntlet, but there's no good choices here. Sure. We are going to choose peace, because we don't have any attack actions, and we know that we're not playing one next turn. Card is so bad when Trench resists. Sure. Oh, it shows peace on accident? Yeah, that makes sense. They'll have a double arsenal. So Moon in here trades our card for 2-ish damage. Versus if we Coronet them on our turn, they're just going to trench it. And, like, trade this card that way. I don't know. Wow, no attack. I really hate having to discard cards to Codex Frailty Pokemoki. That's basically it. That's the whole reason. I don't even know if that's right anymore, but that was the original idea at the very least. Really unfortunate that... I mean, why didn't they attack with the Heatseeker? The Heatseeker was loaded with Voltaire. I think they were playing around a Frostbite, which means this card is probably red, not yellow or blue. Because the Drill Shot didn't have Go again, it was loaded from turn 0, right? Hand's fine. It's missing a good arsenal. Yeah, exactly. End up trenching it anyways? I would like to respond, please. This is the whole game plan. Just get Channelite Frigid out and push damage when we can through AB1. It's working so far. We're even life with our opponent. So we need to hold one of these two cards. Oof. How do you feel playing against Katsu? More straight of momentum or links? I think I am more scared of momentum versus Katsu, Kevin. They're very, very close. Are we full blocking this? Yeah, because with CLF out, we're taxing the Lexi flip if they want to Arsenal this turn. Seems quite good. So if they Arsenal here with CLF out, they have to pay to flip Lexi, which they must do if they want to load with Voltaire to have triple arrow. And they have to give up a card here. They can't pitch a blue to pay 2 to load Voltaire and pay 1 through CLF because their arsenal's face down. So this is just like probably a single arrow turn. Or they have a buff. So brutal. Wish I was able to come to that mental conclusion when I play Fabs. Quite impressed that anyone can predict what's in their opponent's hand like that. It just takes a lot of practice, Brickless. And you're gonna be wrong for a long time. This is kind of funny. These blood rots are gonna end up helping us to channel the channel late frigid. Yeah, this is just sick. We're gonna no block. Sink below. Take 4 here. Take 2 blood rot. Fuse this encase at you. They have to pay to use trench here, or their trench is just frozen. So if they're choosing to let the trench be frozen, it means that their arsenal is playable. Because otherwise they would have AB'd on the encase if they were just locked out of the turn this turn cycle. So I think I want to be aggressive here. Like, they were unwilling to give a card to AB already. Yeah, so I would rather take 2, deal 2. Then prevent 4 by double pitching to blood rot. Yeah, so their arsenal was something that plays around CLF pretty well. It's still probably only a double arrow turn. No, it's a single arrow turn. They have 2 resources floating. This has no reload. I would love to see an Ice Vein at some point, by the way. So what? Block 6, Coronet, Arsenal, a damage spell, and just try to stay ahead in the life race. They're going to have a face down Arsenal, so this Coronet does take a card. They don't get to double load on Voltaire. I don't love Arsenal and Emeritus scolding this early in the game, but like, what else does this hand do? But start cycling back, Brickless. I think one of the best things you can do to... Are we blizzarding here? Probably, question mark? Eats a card. They can still fire another arrow, but it leaves them no arsenal, which seems very good for us. Yeah, let's fire it. Started shivering because of the thought of the blizzard. Cool. So they're just volunteering information about a press already. I like that. Probably declining now. Yeah, no longer has go again. Yeah, and specifically playing the other person's deck can help you get in the mindset of like, why did my opponent do this? Am I just like fine to fuse this brain freeze on my turn? Probably. Opponent has 2 cards in hand. So I'm not super in love with sending the Scolding because they'll get to block some of it for free. If they want to dodge the brain freeze, they need to trench and load. Yeah, it's pretty good. But it's better than Coronet, question mark, hopefully. I don't know, this hand was not very offensive. Again, hey deck, where are my Aether Ice Veins? Hey, what's up, Joshua? Oh my god! I'll take that Codex of Inertia all day. Okay. Well, they just let us Thoughtseize the best card in their deck, and we know that they have it for the next turn cycle. So their hand is a bunch of blues that don't do anything. All 9 in order, right next to each other. Bolt and Shot, Winner's Bite, and Searing Shot. Yeah, their hand is a bunch of blues that do nothing. Deck isn't liking you, Dave. It's fine. I mean, we're 2-0. And pretty happy with our decisions so far today. I did miss Lethal versus Levia that Pankaj pointed out earlier. But just having a good, fun time. Don't you just love when you draw all blue as Iyslander because it means you might draw the dreaded all red hand later? Yeah. I know that feeling, Robin. It's kind of happening right now. What's this hand doing? They pitched Bite, so they're gonna load Bolt and Shot after this and make us block there. Technically an Ice Vein, Joshua. You're right, but it doesn't work out that we confuse it in this hand. Interesting, they're just passing. They know they have the Inertia Codex coming up. We're gonna lose 2 life from this Remorseless because this is playing an action card. Yeah, we just gotta fire this. Because we really need this in Arsenal. Interesting, taking 3 Arcane. So they want to Arsenal the Bolt and Shot. So I would like to exchange damage while I can. Speaking of exchanging damage. Now, we are going to walk straight into this Inertia Codex, right? We're going to play the CLF quickly on their turn. We have to keep that in mind. So we have to keep 2 cards in hand because we'll have to discard one of them to the Inertia Codex. Hey, thank you, Ryan. Trenching away the Bolton. Okay. They're going to load a better arrow. Nope. Well, that's not how this works. What? Why would you lead with Inertia Codex? Okay, I'm fine to let this resolve. Now I don't have to discard to it. How's Columbus? So I made a grave error, Ryan, at the Battle Hardened in Columbus. I played Lexi for no reason, and I went 4-3. Just okay. Not great, but just okay. But then the PTI event on Sunday, I came to my senses. I was like, why am I playing Lexi? And I came back with Iyslander, and I made top 4, losing to Lucas Oswald in the top 4. So pretty good weekend all around. Got a nice Cold Flow Courage token with my prize tickets. There's no on hit here because they already have a card in Arsenal. I'll take 5 all day. And right now my plan is to fuse this Ice Vein. Sure, I can take 3 here. Ponder doesn't do anything for our opponent because they already have a card in hand. Overall, we're in a pretty good spot in this game. If we can draw a red Ice Vein next turn, we'll really be talking. It is a very good red, but it's a very expensive red, so it understands to see them dump that to Aether Ice Vein. Okay. Well, that... Don't quite have lethal. So close to it. Never stray away from your main, so you have to when it gets banned. That's true, Joshua. I've learned that lesson. I've learned that lesson well now. This looks like we're setting up to start Legend for lethal, right? Block with Brain Freeze this turn. Oh, never mind. Block with Brain Freeze and Coronet Peep this turn. When CLF is out, denying our opponent as many resources in hand as possible is a really profitable thing to do. We can send 6 on our turn, at least 6 on their turn. This already had go again, opponent. If they meant to choose +1, it doesn't change anything. We would just block with Tunic as well. Could not care about this on hit less. Red Aether Hail is 4 unblockable damage versus our opponent's AB1. What was my main before Uprising? It was Prism, Sculptor of Arclight Gomes. I love that deck dearly. So fun fact, you all know our national champion, Charles Dunn. Really excellent guy. The first ProQuest I ever won was my local LGS's ProQuest, Gamers Haven in Cleveland, Ohio. And I went 9-0 on the day, including in the finals playing my Prism into Charles Dunn's Starvo. So, little fun fact about how small the world of Flesh and Blood is. Excuse me. Everyone dissing Prism is so glad you're doing reps and just pour it, be ready. We're fine to let this resolve. Hello, David. Slow roll this Lexi? Yeah, there's no point in overextending if they're just giving us breathing room like this. Sand has very few resources. We actually found the Aether Ice Veins, but not in the good way. Cannot let this return to hand. Must block it. Like this. Just send Ice Vein unfused on our turn, put some to 1, guaranteed lethal. Or they're just dead now, because they're at 5, we have 6 Arcane. The legally best Riptide in the world. Yeah, that was a nice GG right there. I think one more and we'll call it a night. Definitely seeing like the meta gauntlet, right? Levia, Lexi, Dromai, just all the big hitters. Main was Reinar, not waiting until he gets banned. I'm catching up on chat. That's, yeah, that is one to stray from, Brickless. But, you know, there's like 2 places we haven't been to in Wraith now that Bright Lights is happening, and that's Mysteria and Savage Lands. So Reinar support gotta be coming soon, right? What I'm really hoping for, and I know that Lexi is like the menace right now, but I'm really hoping for a Savage Lands Ranger, because like, go back and look at the art on Rain Razors or Poison the Tips or Timidity Point. There's a lot of interesting like kind of more nature themed rangers going on in the Savage Lands, and I'm very interested to see what that hero ends up looking like when we do go there. How are the games doing? Pretty well, Nick. We're 3-0. We've kind of playing a meta gauntlet. Big Dragon, Dromai, Levia, and Lexi. But he's been playing Reinar since day one. He said if Reinar gets banned, he's quitting. Well, the good news is, Joshua, I think your buddy will be able to play Flesh and Blood for a good long while. Reinar's like a very healthy deck to have, right? He's not super explosively offensive, but he punishes dirtily decks really well. Like, you can't just sit there and block against him and live, because Quad Intimidate exists. Riptide could get a new skin. Oh, for for Savage Lands? Maybe not a trap-based ranger in the Savage Lands. I'd love to see something that's like Poison the Tips, right? Poison-based, so like interacts with the non-attack action buffs in a different way, and is a lot more like controlling forces interaction with your opponent besides just being damage. I guess I just described Azalea, didn't I? I don't know. Combo Reinar, just intimidate and swing club is quite fun. Yeah, poison heroes would be cool. Like, kind of like Blood Rot, but it stacks, lasts longer than one turn. Earth Ranger for amplifying arrow. Okay, but like, why does Earth Ranger with Crown of Seeds sound kind of sick though? It sounds really cool. 20 plus damage on Blood Rush turns is explosive. Yeah, you're not kidding. Maybe Reinar gives a demi hero that gives him text and decks that don't want to block anyways. Vynnset. Okay. We would go first just to deny our opponent going first. Definitely a Constellus matchup. You know what I want to see, speaking of Savage Lands and demi heroes, Robin, is I want to see a druid that has demi heroes that are different wild shapes. And it's like over the course of the game, you can wild shape into different animals. Take out attacks to deny Carapace. It's not an E-Pot matchup. There's a lot of turns we just want to full block. Winter's Bite is excellent. Icebind is less so. And then we need to cut one more blue. Yeah, I think Druid will be so cool with this game. And I don't think they're done with elemental heroes, Nick, but I think we will never see another, and then Frosting is our last cut. It's just the worst blue. I don't think we'll ever see dual element heroes ever again. Oh, that's funny, Kevin. Yeah, just the wrong Vynnset. Hey. Let's see. Opponent's on AB3 Spell Void 2. Yuck. Not really in love with arsenaling this in case. Not really in love with arsenaling any of these cards, so it's just Blizzard. And we're just going to cycle our hand. So like normally in case is a fine card. But when we're landing to chill, I really want to try to hold things for my red and yellow Aether Ice Veins. Can we conceivably fatigue Vynnset? Probably Pokemochi. Well, this is incredibly awkward. We don't have an attack to Blizzard. That's real bad. That's real bad. We do have to play another chill. David, the twin heroes sounds kind of interesting though. Like, kill one and you lose half your hero power. That's kind of cool. Depends on how they play and how they prioritize blocking Arcane. Yeah, so chat, just listen to Arknight Shadow. He's our resident Vynnset master. This man, highest placing Vynnset at US Nationals. Fun fact. He has his own channel where he streams Runeblade content. You should totally go follow him. And I'm not just shilling because he is a good friend of mine. We will give our opponent an opportunity to walk right into a coronet. Yeah, this card's bad. Love seeing that card go away, because it means I don't have to worry about trying to kill Nazareth. Interesting. Well, if Vynnset is down to one card in hand, tempted to coronet here. Hey, what's up, Xavier? Congrats on top 4 Japanese Nats, by the way, Xavier. That was incredible to see. Better than I did at my Nats. Oh, was it top 8? Sorry. Still an incredible achievement. This is a very Runechant generation heavy Vynnset. It's interesting. I'm sorry to rub salt in that wound. Regardless, it was an excellent performance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm getting the feeling that Blizzard not doing a whole lot in this matchup. Let's throw that one away. We'll take the last 2 chants. Clear our arsenal. It's a Blizzard, Xavier. It's been there for 2 turns. Yeah, it's been a pretty awkward start to this game, but we'll make it back. We'll make it back. So the real question is, are we taking 5 here and then playing blue Ice Vein on our turn, arsenaling the second chill? I think the answer is yes. They're going into their turn with no Runechants. And if we can stick double chill, it's just so huge, right? We're only down 10 life. This is incredibly greedy, right? Like, but if we can stick 2 chills, it's huge. Yeah, Arcnight's Shadow, the outrun really has not been kind to you, has it, Kevin? Which is really unfortunate. Blue reduced to Runechant, interesting. Just rainbow reduces. Chills mean life totals don't even matter. That's true. I'm trading my 2 cards for my opponent's 3 cards. It's absurd. Now our opponent has to work to generate rune chance on this turn. That's a very blue heavy hand, but can they get Annihilation out this turn? Hey, what's up, Rayland? I feel like I'm backing myself into a corner here a bit. Yeah, it's a pretty good heuristic, Robin. I think 25 is where I start to get really afraid of arsenaling it. This hand's really bad. But also our opponent probably doesn't have very many legal plays. So we might get bailed out. Yeah, the overlap between Arcanite Shadow and Arcanite's the mobile gacha game is really funny, Kevin. Nope. So our opponent has Widespread Annihilation and Banished, which we want to keep them off. This seems like an excellent use of Iron Rock Gauntlet. And then our turn is mediocre, but again, we're just trying to open up breathing room to play this chill in our arsenal. So we're going to fuse, we're going to double pitch to moon. Terrible use of our cards, but also like our opponent had a terrible use of their cards. So we're not exactly falling behind yet. Love seeing them give up the go again enablers. I really wonder if our opponent was supposed to banish a non-blood deck card last turn. They're probably going to rack up a lot of damage trying to get this Widespread Annihilation out over the course of this game, just because... Ooh, yes. Talk about breathing room to play this second chill. Oh, that is an unfortunate hand. Ooh. And this, ladies, gentlemen, and my envy friends, is why we don't play Runeblade here. I hate drawing hands that are all non-attack actions. Hand straight. We're doing the thing. I found where all of our ice veins were for that Dromai game, by the way. This is just mean what we're doing to this Vynnset. Yeah. I agree, Robin. I mean, like, Our opponent has shown that they have Rebels in their deck. There are totally worlds where we just get Rune Chanted to death on a turn where we miss Disruption. But we are very, very, very comfortably in the lead in this game, and it's like not close. Our opponent needs to stop putting so many Blood Debt cards in Banished. Can't afford to play any of them. So I definitely don't want to fuse this in case we have so many Ice Veins left in deck. So this looks like a turn cycle where I'm sending Hail off the Encase. I'm going to arsenal one of these two cards. I'm not sure which. We'll see what our opponent does with this Aether Hail. If they pitch a lot of resources out of hand, I'm going to arsenal Scolding to push damage on their turn. If they hold their hand, I'll arsenal Polar Blast to be more defensive. Oh my gosh, they're gonna kill themselves on Blood Debt. See ya, David. You ever tried playing Red Scolding? We just got asked this question earlier, Rayland. Yes, it was very good in Blitz. I was supposed to Frostbite there. That's fine. It's whatever. Curse you, chat, for distracting me with interesting conversations. Are we just gonna greed and know that we're gonna draw into a blue here? You know it. If we don't, it's fine. We have Encase. Or we're just good at the game. Did they pay for Vynnset ability? I don't know. Yes, they did. Okay, we won't pay anything there. What was I saying? Red Emeritus is fine in CC. Red Ice Bolt is better because it's almost the same damage. And it pitches and fuses to CLF and Ice Vein as well. It's decidedly good, but not great. And especially when, at least before Lexi started playing Trench, when we needed more disruptive cards like Encase and Icebind to lock her out of the game, Ice Bolt didn't quite make the cut. Maybe it comes back. I don't know. I need to try it again. It's been a while since I played with it, and I love that card a lot, so I'll try to make it work. Lead the charge into Nebula Blade, question mark? Or they just have a 2-cost Rune Gate in Arsenal, which is entirely possible. I don't understand. I actually don't understand. Well, I'm not spending Constellus when it only pushes 2 damage. This Vynnset is also just killing themselves with all this blood debt they're racking up. Sure. Yeah, I'm also confused, Kevin. That was strange. Oh, maybe they just... Yeah, so they just accidentally passed to end of turn. Revel scary. Oh. Oh, okay. I see. Well, it's a good thing we have one floating. That's okay, I didn't want to do anything with this hand anyways. Yeah, this makes a lot more sense. I'm so sad. They also get to Nebula Blade after this, which is just like the worst. But we get to answer with Constellus Moon for 3 damage. Okay. Opponent is closing the gap. We are unfortunately still like 5 life ahead after the rune chant. Oh no, Revel. It's not looking good for Vynnset. Not looking good for Vynnset. This hand's pretty bad. That's pretty good. They've got it. Okay, Vynnset players. I'm no expert. You don't have to banish Blood Debt every single turn. You're not legally required. Fun facts. Hey, check this out. I just so happen to have the perfect card to answer this Nebula Blade. That's quite fortuitous. I would like to make sure that this Vynnset does not do any crazy double gate shenanigans next turn. So like the Iyslander players who think they need a blue in their arsenal every turn of the game, for real, Pokemoki, it's very similar, right? Vynnset player seems to be avoiding the 0-cost Blood Debt cards at the moment. It makes the bad hands so much worse. Yeah, I think Kevin has ended up on some number of bounding Demigons because A, they are 0-cost, and B, they clean up dragons into Dromai pretty well. Has Frostbites work with Runegate? You still have to pay for the Frostbites we make best. Runegate is an alternate cost, and Frostbites are an additional cost. So the way that it works is alternate costs are paid, then additional costs are applied, then cost reductions are applied. Yeah, so Vynnset's ability is mandatory, but you can banish cards that don't have Blood Debt. You can banish a Shadow Puppetry if you're not able to use that Blood Debt card for a while. Oh, I'm supposed to Frostbite there. That's fine. I mean, it's not fine, but I just clicked before I noticed what was happening. Yeah, it's a rough matchup. We make best. That's like really silly of me. Why did I do that? You ever been happy about playing Blue Aether Hail because it threatens lethal? Yeah, double chills is definitely what made this game feel like a breeze. Opponent concedes, knowing that they're just dead to Arcane on our turn. Cool. That was a... That set also shines in Blitz more than CC, it seems. So yes, Joshua, but also, like, Chain just exists in Blitz, and kind of just think he's better. She definitely is quite good in Blitz, though, I'll agree. That was a fun stream. We've been going for about 2 hours. Got a solid, like, what was that, 4 or 5 games? Had a nice chat. So, you heard about how my Nats went, how my Battlehard Columbus went. Some exciting stuff's coming to the channel. I'm working on videos in my spare time. Hopefully I can get that little get ready for ProQuest season out pretty soon. Try to check back in about a week, and I should have the Norrin Hood is Bad in Iyslander video out by then. But thanks for hanging out, guys. I'll catch you all later. I want to end this stream by, as always, thanking my patrons. Special thanks to my $5 Ice Bolt tier. Those members include Bluebird, Joshua Levy, Kevin Breyer, and Levi Rauch. If you're a fan of the channel, if you want to support me and help me make content, you can head over to my Patreon and check it out. I am very vehement in promising I will never paywall any content that I make. It's purely if you want to support the channel. And what you can do is sign up at one of the 3 tiers. The frosting tier will get you the card backs that you saw me play with on Talishar today, so that you also can play with fun little on-hit effect Lodos as you play Talishar. The $3 Aether Hail tier will get you in the credits that you see scrolling right now, and the Ice Bolt tier will get you a special shout out at the end of the streams and videos and on my starting soon and be right back pages while I'm streaming. Thank you, everybody. I'll catch you later.